your cue to come on in. We're going to get started. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
I'll try to get this as straight as I can.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Newton. Come on in and have a seat. I have the best job this morning, which is to bring everybody in, to get us started. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning, friends. Welcome, welcome. You know. I think he comes after the mayor. Let me look at the program. If you can hear my voice, clap once. Oh, we're getting there. Hello, everybody, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, friends and neighbors. My name is Reverend Devlin Scott, and I am honored to serve on the board of the Harmony Foundation. The Harmony Foundation is our short version for the Foundation for Racial, Ethnic, and Religious Harmony. It is my distinct pleasure and privilege to welcome you to the 51st Annual Theodore D. Mann Mayor's Community Breakfast. What a joy it is for us to gather together again, face to face, heart to heart, as a community that believes in the power of unity and strength and diversity, and to a hope that we all share as a common purpose. On behalf of the Harmony Foundation, I extend a heartfelt welcome to everyone here, all of you, to our elected officials, to Mayor Fuller and members of the Newton City Council, to the dedicated public servants in the Newton Police Department and Fire Department, to the Newton Public Schools leadership, superintendents, school committee members, principals, and educators, to the healthcare workers, social workers, and mental health professionals who care for us in our body and mind, to business owners and entrepreneurs, to nonprofit leaders, to community advocates who help this city thrive, to our neighbors from local colleges and universities, to the students who represent the next generation, to our interfaith clergy, congregational leaders, and spiritual elders who guide us with wisdom and conviction, to our artists and musicians and storytellers who enrich our souls, to the families, elders, youth, and every resident who calls Newton home, and to the staff, volunteers, and organizers who make this morning possible, thank you. We're also so deeply grateful. Yeah, we can clap for that. We're also so deeply grateful for the Suzuki School of Musicians for sharing their gifts with us this morning. And a special thank you to the Village Bank, our lead sponsor, for their generous support in making this possible. Today, we pause to remember that the strength of any community lies not in uniformity, but in the beauty of our differences. As this theme for this year reminds us, a garden's beauty never lies in one flower. That's a truth we at the Harmony Foundation hold dear. Our mission is to facilitate learning, interaction, understanding, and respect across racial, ethnic, and religious dimensions within Newton community. And with the purpose of furthering the recognition of our diversity as a continuing and increasing source of community strength. Each year, the Harmony Foundation oversees 2 key events that brings this mission to life: the Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration, and this very gathering, the Theodore D. Mann Mayor's Community Breakfast. This event also traditionally serves as a fundraiser for the work of the foundation. So if you'd like to support our ongoing efforts to build bridges and foster belonging, you can do so this morning. Just scan the QR code that's inside the cover of your program to make a donation. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for being a part of this vibrant garden we call Newton. May this morning spark connection, conversation, and inspiration. May it affirm what's possible when we work together and walk forward side by side. And may it remind us that no one flower makes a garden, but together we can be a breathtaking bloom. Welcome and thank you. Now please help me welcome the Mayor of Newton, Mayor Ruth Ann Fuller.
Good morning, everybody. You understand that Reverend Devlin Scott just had the hardest job of the morning, which is to try to get all of us to sit down. And I want to ditto all of his thank yous. There are such fabulous people. I wish all of you could just stand here for a sec to be able to scan the room. I know almost all of you, and we are a tent full of wonderful, good people. I do want to do one more set of welcomes and thank yous for being here. For our elected folks, it's a strange time to raise your hand and be willing to serve in that type of role, and I'm so grateful. I have already seen Middlesex County Sheriff Peter Katusian is in the tent. I believe District Attorney Marian Ryan is here. I haven't been able to give her a hug quite yet. We have state representatives Sangiolo and Schwartz and Tommy Vitolo. Thank you for coming from next door from Brookline. Former State Rep Kay Khan is here. Thank you. City Council President Mark Laredo, City Council Vice President David Kalis just gave me a wave. Hello to City Council President Emeritus Lyle Baker, and City Councilors Bixby and Downs, Farrell and Getz, Humphrey and Kelly, Krinsman and Lipoff, Lucas, Mickley, and Wright. I saw our school committee vice chair, Emily Prenner, is in the tent, as well as committee members Parlikar and Olszewski. The Harmony Foundation, the Newton Interfaith Leadership Association, the Rotarians, And one more person. She doesn't know I'm going to say this, and of course she's standing outside of the tent. Hattie Kerwin-Derrick made all of this happen. If any of you are lucky enough to be of an age where you have thrown a wedding, it's a little bit like throwing a wedding, and there's lots of joy and occasional tension, but the weather gods were very kind to us this morning, so we didn't have to worry about that. Jeff Cornoyer, where are you? Here in the tent. So Jeff and the UMass Mount Ida folks are so welcoming. Thank you again for welcoming us to your campus. We're really grateful. In fact, the way we're going to get started, much of today is centered on young people. And UMass Amherst student class of 2025. When's graduation? Did you already have graduation? Come on up. A graduate, not even a student anymore. Please welcome Maggie Bodian.
Good morning and welcome to the Mount Ida campus of UMass Amherst. My name is Maggie Bodian. I graduated from UMass Amherst 2 weeks ago with a Bachelor's of Arts in Education. Thank you. This fall I'll be continuing my academic journey at NYU Steinhardt, where I'll pursue my master's degree in childhood and special education. But this summer I'll be This summer, I'll be living here on the Mount Ida campus for my second year, working as a lead counselor at Camp Shriver, an inclusive camp for children with and without intellectual and developmental disabilities. As the Commonwealth's leading public research university, UMass is the largest contributor to the state's workforce. Through the Mount Ida campus, UMass students are building strong connections with employers across the greater Boston area, gaining hands-on experience that will better contribute to your businesses, your nonprofits, your schools, and your healthcare centers. None of this would be possible without the incredible support of our host community here in Newton. On behalf of more than 1,000 UMass Amherst students who have called Newton home while living here on this campus, we thank Mayor Fuller, her dedicated staff, the City Council, the Newton Legislative Delegation, and all the organizations in Newton who support this campus and support UMass students. Please enjoy this event this morning, and please come say hello to the UMass table, especially if you have any questions about the Mount Ida campus. Thank you very much.
We're going from student to student. Please welcome up Bryce Campbell, Newton North. Doesn't graduate this year, but next year. Come on up, Bryce.
The Harmony Foundation and the participants in the 51st Annual Newton Mayor's Community Breakfast acknowledge that Newton, Massachusetts is on the traditional homelands of the Eastern Woodland Indigenous peoples. The indigenous nations that belong to this land are known as the Akina Wampanoag, Mashpee Wampanoag, Herring Pond Wampanoag, Stockbridge Munsee, Nipmuc Tribe, and all Massachusetts tribes. We respect and recognize that it is a privilege to be living on these lands as guests. We acknowledge the trauma experienced over centuries by the indigenous peoples that live on these lands and who continue to face injustice. We honor with gratitude those who have stewarded this land through generations and their ongoing contributions to this region. We also acknowledge that these lands are sacred to generations yet to be born. We will continue to create and build healthy relations with the indigenous peoples of these lands. We thank all indigenous peoples.
I'm inviting up, oh, they're right here. This is going to be a short walk. Reverend Cheryl Kerr, Sadi Balak, and Rabbi Laura Brazeley to lead us in the invocation. And as they come up, please know Reverend Kerr joins us from the United Parish of Auburndale. Sadia, a Newton resident, joins from the Islamic Center of Boston, and Rabbi Brazeley from Temple Shalom in West Newton. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bring it down to my height. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that Rabbi Keith Stern, my colleague at Beth Avoda on the other side of Newton from Temple Shalom, couldn't be here this morning, and so I'm stepping into his stead. He sends his regrets. I would never dare to stand in his place, but I'm going to try this morning. Good morning, friends. We gather this morning as one Newton family, diverse in our traditions, yet united in hope for a world rooted in justice, kindness, and understanding. We stand as one community and give thanks to the divine source of strength and love as we open our hearts to conversation and fellowship with our neighbors. As we are taught in Psalms, Hine matov umanaim, shevet achim gam yachad. It is good and so very pleasant when all of us can gather together as one community. There are so many ways to recognize the remarkable diversity of the community in which we are privileged to live and work. But perhaps the very best place to begin our morning is at the very beginning of the collective story of humanity, in the opening verses of Genesis, where we are all taught the creation of the earth in all of her magnificence. The words of these verses inspire us as we read of the diversity with which God intentionally spoke our beautiful world, including the multiplicity of humanity, into existence. And God said, "Let us make Adam, the human, in our image, after our likeness," reminding us that every human being has B'Tselem Elohim, the creation of God, within them. But the next verse goes even further, setting up the immense creativity and array of the human spirit God places in God's beautiful garden of earth. God created the Adam, the human, in the divine image, creating it in the image of God. Male and female, God created them. Jewish commentary explains the unusual language in this verse as meaning that God created the first human being as one inclusive, all-encompassing person, containing all of humanity's vast characteristics simultaneously. Today we expand this notion in the text and understand the verse, "Male and female, God created them," as merism, a figure of speech in which a totality is expressed by two contrasting parts. This verse teaches us that God created diversity in every single human and in all of humanity, all at once. The Adam, the human, is everything all at once, male and female and non-binary, black and white and brown, gay and straight and trans, Christian and Muslim and Jewish, and every combination in between. More than our minds can ever conceive. We are united in our diversity from the very beginning.
Salam, shalom, and peace. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of God, the most merciful, the most compassionate. As a Muslim member of this community for more than 5 decades, I am honored to be able to represent Muslims in Newton, a veritable garden of diverse ethnicities, races, languages, and customs. Today is the first day of Dhul Hijjah, the 12th month in the Muslim lunar calendar. The first 10 days of this month are one of the most auspicious times of the year for Muslims. The Hajj pilgrimage begins in 8 days for those who are fortunate enough to travel to Mecca to fulfill their life's dream. For the rest of us not participating in Hajj, the holiday of Eid al-Adha, the feast of the sacrifice, will be in 10 days, commemorating the story of the prophet Abraham, the father of monotheism, and the common root of our 3 religious traditions. In the Muslim holy book, the Quran, chapter 49, Al-Hujurat, God addresses mankind. "O people, we have created you all, male and female, and have made you nations and tribes so that you would get to know each other. My hope and prayer for today is that we get to know each other. The Quran also says in Surah At-Tin, chapter 96, "We have indeed created man in the best of molds." Each flower in the garden is unique and perfect in its own way. See the good in each individual, even if they are different than you in the way they pray or worship. All praises are for God, the most compassionate, the most forgiving. Almighty God, we implore you for your wisdom and guidance. We ask you for peace and understanding among the nations and tribes you have created, so that we may get to know one another. God of the East and the West and of the West, accept our prayer to sustain us and every flower in the garden, our brothers and sisters of different beliefs in our desire for peace. Help us to find this peace in our living together. Inspire us to love our neighbors and glorify your name in community. Embrace all of those who have stepped up to show solidarity with those who don't have a voice, or who are learning to find their voice, or whose voices need to be amplified. We pray for peace, not war, love, not hate, benevolence, not greed, unity, not division. Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam, tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram. O God, you are the peace, from you is all peace. Blessed are you, O possessor of majesty and honor. Amen.
Blessings of peace and grace to all of you. Similarly, in Christianity, we have this notion of diversity being valued within our whole. That they may all be one is preached through our gospel, and yet one does not mean all the same. The diversity that we hold within us is a part of our oneness. The Apostle Paul says to the first churches of this world, for just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. For in the one Spirit we are all baptized into one body, Jews and Greeks, slaves or free, and we were all made to drink of one Spirit. For we believe that each member of the body has its own purpose, and each purpose is infinitely valuable to the whole. And so we can't neglect this call. It's a call that comes from us. It's a call that speaks different languages through our Muslim communities and through our Jewish communities, through our Hindu communities, through our spiritual communities, and through our humanist communities. We need each of us to be whole. And so in this light, let us take on a posture of prayer or reflection as we invoke this spirit of joy and unity and diversity under this big tent. O Holy One, we look to you by all of your names to guide us towards unity, with the only commonality being love. God, it is your love, the love that forms in different ways, the love that connects us today, the love that is vibrant and transcendent this morning. God, we ask for your blessing on all of these leaders. May they lead in love and hope for unity. May they walk together as one for the sake of this greater community in the city of Newton. We pray all of these prayers in the name of the one, the many, the love. Amen.
We are in for a treat a number of times this morning. We have here, and thank you, Dr. Anna Nolan, for giving them a hall pass at Newton South High School for being a bit late this morning. The Newton South Jazz Ensemble was just chosen as one of the 30 best jazz ensembles at the Essentially Ellington High School Jazz Band Competition. And their teacher, it's really amazing. Their music director, Lisa Lindy, give a wave. She is the 2025 John Laporta Jazz Educator of the Year. Enjoy. Duke Ellington and the Newton South Jazz Ensemble. Please welcome up the folks from the Harmony Foundation. This foundation, who for over 5 decades has recognized that Newton's diversity is a continuing and increasing source of community strength. Tony Legalbo, Karen Manning, Tamika Olszewski, Devlin Scott, I think Devlin, you're back up, and Renan Loaiza, you're amazing. Thank you for persisting.
Thank you. My pulse is still elevated from the performance. We are going to briefly offer reflections on the theme that we chose for this morning's gathering, A Garden's Beauty Never Lies in One Flower. I hope we'll be all brief and quick. Thank you.
I'll try. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our annual breakfast. When I think about a garden, I think about the sum of all of its parts. I think about how useful it is to have someone water it, but I also think about how much more impactful it is to have the rain. I think about how it can thrive with artificial lighting, but I think about how much more it blooms with the kiss and the warmth of the sun. I think about how good it is to have large hands cultivate it, but I also think about how vital it is to have the pollination from the smallest of the bees. Not one part is more important than the other. Not one makes it grow or more beautiful. It takes all of those parts, and it will take all of us to foster love, unity, and acceptance.
Hello again. A garden's beauty never lies in one flower. We know this to be true when we look around the city at its people, its neighbors, its cultures, its faiths. The beauty is in the variety. But what's easy to miss is what connects us. Not what's visible above the ground, but what holds us together underneath it. Because while each flower is different colors, different shapes, and purposes, they all share something in common: the roots. Roots reach down into the same soil. Roots remind us that we're planted in something shared. And in the garden of this community, there's a shared soil in our common humanity. Yes, we are different, and beautifully so. But we come from the same source. We are all human, and because of that, we are all deserving of dignity. We all deserve space. We all deserve a voice. Above, but remember what connects us below.
So for me, the line, the quotation, a garden's beauty never lies in one flower, made me think of a collection of stories I used to read to my children called Unlikely Friendships. About the friendship between a calf and a leopard, or a dachshund and a parakeet. And it just really stuck with me. It was so beautiful. And all I could think of was how, in our world, unlikely friendships should always be likely friendships, because our worlds are enriched by friendships and relationships and working with people who are not exactly like us. So that's my message. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Some gardens are carefully tended and carefully curated. They are lovely and perfect in their sameness of color or shape or form. Other gardens are nature's intended, shall we say. They are wild and effervescent and unique in the composition, and equally as valued for that characteristic. I'm going to tease out one of the aspects of my character. I am a naturalized citizen to this country, and so I chose this country as my garden, just like I chose this city as my garden home. And on behalf of all immigrants everywhere, I hope we, as people who make this home, our garden, so vibrant and rich, remember and preserve always the respect, the dignity, and the kindness that I know that we as Newtonians and we as Americans all value. Thank you.
Thank you. If you have today's program in hand, take a moment to turn to the inside front cover and read the Harmony Foundation's mission statement. It is brief, and yet some words have created controversy recently in some quarters, particularly the assertion that diversity is a source of strength. This room is filled with organizations and individuals working in the Garden of Newton to leave it better than it already is. From the food pantries to the library, Forge to the New Arts Center, the Interfaith Leaders Association, the sponsors of the community iftar, the Police Memorial Association, and the Newton Firefighters Children's Fund. I could go on. This entire room is folks at work in Newton's garden. Your assignment today is to pick any one of these multitude of opportunities and make a donation today to a Newton organization, even if it's not us. Our mission concludes that Newton's diversity is a continuing and increasing source of community strength. We will continue to hold this truth. Indeed, a garden's beauty never lies in one flower. Thank you.
I wonder if Mayor Teddy Mann and the Harmony Foundation 51 years ago understood that 51 years later, how critically important this gathering and these values would be. Because what they set us up to do is to reach across our 13 villages, across political ideologies and faith traditions, across union and management, schools and city, race and ethnicities, and to be able to sit together, break bread together, talk together, and build our community together. So our world has kept changing over the past 51 years, and today feels even more complicated, divisive, and challenging. Uncertainty is enormous, anxiety is high, funding is short, and yes, actions from the White House seemingly undermine actions here in the Commonwealth. And yet, I look at all of you, and as Tony Legalbo just said, it's a tent full of people making our 13 villages into one community. And nestled here, institutions of higher learning, University of Massachusetts, Amherst at Mount Ida, LaSalle, BC. In Waban, we're the home to a leader in healthcare, Newton Wellesley Hospital, part of the Mass General Brigham family. Nobel laureates in science and medicine live here, as well as residents who were crucial to inventing the COVID vaccine and the doctor who led the CDC during the pandemic. So our neighbors are using science in laboratories to end disease. They are serving as doctors and nurses to care for us. And they are teaching in universities and colleges crucial places of learning and, yes, skeptical inquiry. And all three of these sectors in the Massachusetts ecosystem are under duress right now. Business, nonprofit, and union leaders are here with us. And they are facing staffing challenges, rising costs, uncertainty, exacerbated by tariffs on one day and off the next, and it looks like it's a good day today. I guess they're off again. But they depend on all of us to shop local, eat local, and support local artists. And as Newton experiences high rainfall and high winds, extreme heat and extreme weather that keep our firefighters and police officers in EMS services and DPW folks way too busy, we have staff and volunteers here who are helping us choose electric cars and heat pumps and insulation and composting. So too are people here who will continue to embrace and support members of the trans community, and with a combination of both great pride and huge worry, will gather at City Hall on Tuesday, June 3rd, put it in your calendar, it's 5:30, to stand with our LGBTQ plus residents. As ICE intensifies their actions, so many of us in this tent are dismayed to see feds in balaclavas with military guns on the news, at times appearing to skirt due process, other times sweeping up so-called collaterals. I still can't get used to that term, collaterals. As Devlin Scott just said, they're human beings, and consistently spreading fear. And yet, this morning we're about to celebrate a Newtonian who is embracing homeless mothers and children, regardless of where they were born, and doing so with warmth, dignity, programs and services, and a place to live. And we're also going to thank and celebrate our Newton police officers who serve our community with love in their hearts and with experience, professionalism, and training under their belts. And to all of you who are here, you're the people who are binding us together when the tensions in this world are trying so darn hard to pull us apart. And I know it feels easier to retreat into our homes, to have breakfast at home this morning, and perhaps to mingle only amongst those who think exactly the way we do. But we're here together. We chose to be here this morning. And I know our ideologies in this tent do differ. We've got politicals and conservatives here, progressives and traditionalists. But we also know that our humanity does not differ. And only if we're together do we have a chance of forging the harmony to which I know we all aspire. And like you, I actually love this community. I love Newton. I feel so darn lucky to be able to live here. You heard the Harmony leaders talking about the motto today, that gardener's beauty never lies in just one flower. Oh, is that true here in Newton? And as they said, it's equally true that gardens don't just grow, they must be tended. And like Tony Legalbo just did, I'm asking for your help. Our city needs people who are willing to step forward and plant the seeds of understanding and empathy across differences. We need people who can water the roots of equality so that everyone has a chance to blossom. We need people to shine the light on human rights and human dignity, education and reason, global relationships and neighborhood belonging, and due process and the rule of law. We need people to run for elected office. We need people to volunteer to serve on boards and commissions and join a PTO or a community group. And this, I'm preaching to the choir here, but we need people who can passionately argue their point with respect instead of rancor, and who prune away the divisions among us. And I really do believe this. I think because of the deep roots of people like Mayor Mann 51 years ago, and the generations of people before us, that all of us are swaying a little bit in these turbulent winds, but we're still standing strong. I want to close with the words of President Abraham Lincoln. He spoke them at Gettysburg, 1863, a battleground, a place of the fallen. And I also said them 2 days ago at the Newton Cemetery, where some of us were there on Memorial Day. For while he was talking about fallen soldiers, feels like he is talking about the world we live in today. President Lincoln said, "The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work." And yes, we have unfinished work, which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Thank you, President Lincoln. Thank you all. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. Stay down. We're in for another treat. Carmen, an 8th grader at F.A. Day Middle School, come on up, or I don't know, maybe you're staying down there. You'll figure it out. Where's Carmen? Don't know. Am I off cue here? Somebody help me out here. There you are. Carmen, come on up. Sorry, you were at the far end of the tent. Here you go. It's a bit of a maze to get up here. Welcome, Carmen, please. You don't have to say a darn thing, you can just sing.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out and move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains, and I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again, and I'll rise up, high like the waves, I'll rise up, in spite of the ache, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you. When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains, take it to its feet and move mountains, and I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you.
Auchincloss. I don't say that very often, but he has to follow Carmen. He's our neighbor, our friend, and our powerful voice in Washington, D.C., Congressman Jake Auchincloss.
Ruth Ann's right. I'm not going to sing. I'm also not going to deliver a speech as good as the Gettysburg Address, so thanks, Ruth Ann. Good morning. It's really nice to be here with so many friends and neighbors, people I really value as strong moral voices in these uncertain times. And there is no shortage of current events that we could be talking about right now, huh? I just spent 2 weeks debating in the House in all-night sessions over bills that cut health care, explode the national debt, funnel a $1 billion tax break to buy silencers for pistols, a tax break to buy silencers for pistols, for $1 billion. I expect that this audience and I are in pretty vigorous agreement on these issues. And so I'll ask for your indulgence to not talk about politics and to talk a little bit more philosophically this morning. Because, my friends, this country at large is careening into a post-truth era. We are in an epistemic crisis without shared awareness of agreed-upon facts. We all value a garden with 1,000 flowers blooming and a diversity of experiences, but we all got to agree on photosynthesis as a fact of how they bloom. And we as citizens will not be able to support and defend the Constitution without supporting and defending the institutions that build shared awareness of agreed upon facts, including science and the law and journalism and education. These institutions, science, law, journalism, education, they contain multitudes, of course, and there's whole theses to be written about each of them. But when healthy, I think they share three attributes. And I should note that I draw on some on this from Lee McIntyre, a Newton resident who has written on post-truth politics. The first thing I think that all these institutions draw on, or they should, is that there is such a thing as truth. It does exist, even if it's unknowable fully in the here and the now. No journalist or scientist or teacher or lawyer would claim a monopoly on the truth, but they should insist that it exists. And postmodernism opened up a can of worms by claiming that truth is relative or in the eye of the beholder. It's not. It's out there. Second, I think healthy institutions of knowledge, they should open up all claims to debunking forever. As a claim withstands attempts to debunk it, whether through fact-checking in journalism or experimentation in science or cross-examination in litigation, that claim gains credence. It gets closer to being accepted more broadly as truth. And finally, no one can claim personal authority. No president, no professor. Claims must be evaluated empirically, not based upon the identity of the claimant. No canceling, whether from left or from right, by the powerful or by the prestigious. Science, law, journalism, education, they're all under pressure right now by demagogues and by grifters who seek post-truth standards for knowing. Their core claim is believe nothing except for me. And it's our generational project to recenter society in shared awareness of common facts. And the policies are going to be wide-ranging and far more expansive than this speech can contain. Everything from replication studies at the National Institutes of Health to providing tax credits for hiring journalists for newspapers at the local level, as Canada has done. But one obstacle in this is going to be ever present, and I'm worried ever powerful, and that's the social media corporations, which have been rewiring our minds and our society to suit their business model. Individual Americans feel powerless against these trillion-dollar corporations that monetize our screen time. I certainly do. I have 3 little kids, and I'm trying to set a better example for them, and I bought a book a couple months ago called How to Break Up with Your Phone in 30 Days. I'm still on day 1. And I'm sure we've all had that experience, right? Like you're on an elevator and rather than being alone with your own thoughts for 20 seconds, you're sitting there with your hand on your pocket wondering if I should check your phone or not. And that makes Mark Zuckerberg very rich. I don't know that it makes any of us any happier, and I certainly don't know that it makes our ability to find and agree on common facts and shared awareness of truth as a society any easier. So I understand why we as individuals feel powerless. What I cannot accept is why Congress feels powerless against these corporations. We haven't passed a single law in 30 years against these companies. We need to take actions. We need to get the smartphones out of the schools. We should raise the age of internet adulthood from 13. It's 13 years old right now, by the way. 13-year-olds can sign terms and conditions with these corporations. We should raise it to at least 16. We should revoke Section 230, which is the law that shields social media from the laws that journalists follow. We should levy their $250 billion in digital advertising revenue as a tax on attention fracking. And we should use those funds to fix what they have been breaking by offering tutoring and funding for tech folk schools and other useful, productive things that can build truth as a society and trust. As a father of a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old in an era when screen time is devouring family time, and as an elected leader in an epistemic crisis, I'm committed to fighting back against these social media platforms specifically, and more broadly to rolling back the post-truth slide generally across law and science and education and journalism. And I ask you all, here in a city that prides itself on creating leaders and being on the cutting edge of all 4 of those domains, to help me in ways that are best suited to you in strengthening these institutions. Because ultimately what we're in right now is not actually at its core a political fight. It's a fight about the nature of shared reality and of truth. In these efforts, I take inspiration from my friend and our mayor, Ruth Ann Fuller, whose commitments to the facts is equaled only by her commitment to this city. I have worked with Ruth Ann as a fellow city councilor, as an early and proud backer in her first mayoral campaign, as a chair of a city council committee when she was the mayor, and now as Newton's congressman during her 2nd term. At every phase of our partnership, from debating parking minimums as city councilors to tag teaming the MBTA on the Newtonville commuter rail station last year, I have learned from Ruth Ann and admired her. In politics, people can talk an issue into oblivion, but Ruth Ann drives to the heart of the matter and politely, though firmly, resolves it. She's an executive, someone who owns decisions and gets stuff done. And from debate through decision through delivery, she focuses upon the facts as her guide. Ruth Ann, thank you for your leadership and your integrity during these uncertain times.
That was very kind, wasn't it? We have a group of students joining us, the Troubadours. They're from a number of different schools. We're in for a treat, and they're led by Jamie Alberts and Eric Ritter. Thank you both. I welcome two neighbors of ours, Mary Lou Shaughnessy and her husband, Dan. Dan has a special lens on the world, sports as a unifying feature usually, except when you pull in the New York Yankees, but we won't talk about that. But where the seats in the stands are filled with people of all backgrounds, and we hope that the coaches and players are serving for role models for all of us on what teamwork can be. Dan Shaughnessy, thank you for being our neighbor and for joining us.
Hello, everybody. This is very humbling to be up here under this tent, surrounded by all this talent, these young people. Are you guys really in high school? This is, yeah, it's so much talent and so much caring under this tent, and the wonderful words and missions that you all have been addressing. So I don't know what I'm doing here, but we'll stagger through it a little bit here. It's going to be a no Red Sox zone today. Things aren't going really swell for the local 9 right now, so We're ignoring them. I was worried about the scheduling of this because I was going to be at the Celtics playoff games, you know, in Cleveland and Indianapolis, and I had all these airplane tickets, and yeah, that didn't happen. It was nice of so many of you to wear green this morning anyway, but just in case. But yeah, so, but you know, I have a great job. I'm a sports columnist for the Boston Globe. There is no better place to do what I do in America, in the world, than be a sports columnist at the Boston Globe. If you're going to be a sports columnist, you want to be at the Boston Globe because we have everything. We have the teams. We have the traditions, the venues. We used to have the championships. We had one last year with the Celtics, and we will have them again. But the greatest part about it, I think, I've always thought, is the smart, thoughtful readers, which we like to think we are, and you are. Smart, thoughtful readers, greatest part of doing this where I get to do it. And I was at all those championships in this century. There's 13 of them in this century. I mean, these young people, the really young ones, they're too young to remember now because it's been a while. But yeah, starting in 2002 with Tom Brady, you know, Patriots 6, Red Sox 4, Celtics 2, Bruins 1. I was at all of them, and they will get back to that. But it really, some of us had to wait a long time for this. The Red Sox thing waited 86 years. It was a long time. And so many of those pro athletes lived in Newton. My mission today, my goal is to tell you how much I love Newton. That's what I'm going to do up here, because I do. And I'm telling you, the athletes love it too. Like when I covered the Celtics in the 80s, lived over in West Newton off Cherry Street. And Danny Ainge and Greg Kite were my neighbors. Danny was over on Lowell Street, and Greg was on Waltham Street, and we used to commute occasionally. You know, my garden city was the Boston Garden, TD Garden now, whatever, but that's how we came to it. And so many guys, David Ortiz lived in Newton. Jason Veritek lived in Newton. Daisuke Matsuzaka, I believe, still lives in Newton. Tuukka Rask over on Sargent Street, right near Jim Davis over there. He was there, still in Newton. Joe Mazzulla, the Celtic coach. Holiday, Tatum. You'll see him at Little League games. They're on the fields of play, which they're. And they're of the sports world, which is my world. And you know, one of our themes today is unifying forces. And there's a lot of it in sports. It's one of the things where I think we can agree on. The mayor referenced, you know, hope you can be New York fans. It's okay. We'll let it go. But basically, it does unite us to cheer for the same things. And the crowds, the people watching TV in the bars or what have you, they're cheering for the same thing. And within the clubhouse, within the locker rooms, it's very similar too. I mean, it's guys don't judge one another on if you're from the Dominican Republic or you're from Japan or you're from Venezuela. It's, are you a good teammate? Do I want to play with you? It doesn't really matter what color your skin is, what your ethnicity is, what religion you practice. It's, you know, do I want to play with this guy? And it's a great meritocracy and a great democracy in sports where it sort of finds its own level. And that's part of team play, the great melting pot of sports. I mean, hockey, you have so many Canadian guys. I mean, they're our friends, right? The Canadians, Bobby Orr, Ray Bourque, they were our friends. We liked them. And you know, the Celtics team, most of the guys are African-American blacks, although Al Horford has Dominican heritage there. The Red Sox, of course, you know, the great Dominican coverage we had there with David Ortiz, Pedro Martinez, Manny Ramirez. You know, the Red Sox, you know, right now they have a Japanese outfielder who's not playing. He's on the disabled list like so many of their guys. Alex Bregman is Jewish. Who knows that Alex Bregman is Jewish? His mother went to Holy Cross. Who knew that? So I learned these things in my job, and it's been a great privilege. But this is the mayor's breakfast. I'm a political person. My politics, I keep to myself. I find it better. And to the point, go to a lot of kids' games. We have 3 adult children, 5 grandchildren, all in Newton. And when they were little kids, all the great parks here. I'm going to talk a little bit about how much I love Newton and the parks. But the one thing, occasionally there would be the umpire wouldn't show up or the referee didn't show up. And I'm here to tell you, when they say, does anybody want to volunteer to umpire, say no. You know, never raise your hand for that, because then your life becomes political and you can't win it no matter what you do, because it's people's children's and nobody can see straight on that. Now, being in Newton is amazing to me because, as I learned this morning, it's 90,000 people. I'm so old, it was 80,000 when I moved here, 44 years ago. But 90,000 people now. I grew up nothing like this. Central Massachusetts, small town, 4,000 people. Groton. It was charming and small. I am here to tell you, really small. Apple farms, cow farms, turkey farms, what have you. Not one stoplight in the city. And a couple of stories demonstrate how small was where I grew up. You know, in grade school, the kids from West Groton, everybody had 4 jobs in the town. The bus drivers were also the cops and the firefighters. There was a volunteer fire department. And smallness was all about it. I called one of my friends and I said, am I right? When you used to get on the bus from West Groton at Thanksgiving time, you told me there were slaughtered turkeys in the front rows of the bus? She said, yeah. The farmer was Mr. Shattuck, and he was delivering, the week before Thanksgiving, we'd get on the bus and there'd be 3 rows of crates of headless turkeys, and you had to walk past this carnage to the back of the bus. And none of us thought to mention anything about this to our parents, like the trauma of this. It was just unspeakable, and the bloodbath in the front of the bus, but it was one day a year, and that's just the way it was. I mean, I was traded in Little League. You could do this like 40 years ago. I picked up the phone one morning. It was Mr. Van Hoogen. He said, yeah, we traded you to the Braves. They were trying to even out the teams. It's really a compliment. They wanted you. I'm like, okay, I get 2 hats, I guess. But, I would have been on CNN now if that happened, But that was the smallness of it. My wife is from Detroit. My wife, Dr. Mary Lou Shaughnessy, in the front row here. And we've been married 43 years. I've got it right. And she's from Detroit, not like Groton, Massachusetts, not even like Newton. It was Detroit. So the first time I take my bride to my hometown in Groton, we stop at the market, Facino's Market, Leo Facino. He had the apron on, he was bloody, he was in the butcher in the back, and the fridge behind him, giving you a quart of milk, everything was really small. And I was ringing up, I was going to take some ice cream home to my mother, some cookies and donuts, and Leo's ringing me up, and he says, Danny, you going back to your house? I said, yeah, I'm visiting my mom today. He says, well, your mom was in this morning and bought ice cream. I'm like, oh, chocolate chip? Yeah, chocolate chip. It was like that. Okay. And then we stop at the hardware store on the way to town, and my wife goes in, and she says, I need some batteries for my flash. And she goes in, and I said, yeah, ask for the Sargent brothers. They run the Moiston's hardware store. So she comes out of the store, and she says, this place is unbelievable. This is not Detroit. I went in, I was complaining about the Duracell package, which is 4 batteries, and how you waste 2. You crack it open, you never use those other 2. And so the guy tore it open and sold me the 2 for half price of the package. I said, I don't know, but that's my hometown. It was a very nurturing environment. The librarian would save the books when there weren't that many sports books then, but the librarian would one come in, save that for Danny Shaughnessy. He's going to want that. I'd read it in 2 days and bring it back. So people looking out for you, small and charming. We didn't lock our doors. There's still a basketball in the town court. It says Groton, and it just stays there. Nobody takes it home. It's the town ball. So the town ball, if you drive by there today, it'll still be there. So when I moved here in the early 80s, I'm like, where am I going to find that again? I mean, there's no place like that. But you know what? We kind of have it going here. And I've really grown. This is my love letter to Newton, which is why I'm here. It's all I've got for you guys with all the serious heaviosity and all the important talk here. But for me, Newton just solves so many things. Proximity to Boston, the hospitals. Oh my God, the great hospitals we have here. The institutions of higher learning. The TD Garden, the things I need to be near. Fenway Park, Boston Garden, Logan Airport. That proximity. I love that. But I've also, in my years here, my decades here, acquired the small town charm and continuity. I've only had 2 mailmen in 37 years. I mean, really, it's just an amazing thing. I mean, Hillary Clinton said it takes a village. I say it takes 13 villages, which we have. And does anyone know where Thompsonville is? Oh, we got some here? Oh, we'll talk after. Yeah, thank you. Show of hands there. We have to, I mean, being around the city of Boston a lot at the Old Globe, people identify themselves by their parish. What parish are you from? Or what T stop do you live near, etc. I mean, in Newton, I've found, it's what village, and now I'm going to learn about Thompsonville when we get done here. And what day is your trash pickup? We're a Thursday family, Friday this week, all that stuff. But these are the things, you sort of, and a lot of my talking points here are identifiable. The other side, this is like Paris for me, being on the other side of town here. We're Newton corner side, Brighton border side, And my reference is, my Newton is the same as everybody else's Newton, but we're all Newton guys here, so we like that. I was wondering, wait, lost my notes here. See, oh, the lake. Okay. How many of you have been asked, where's the water, where's the lake, and the whole thing like that? So that's the thing. It's such a thing. But I love the lake. I love the giant Santa at Christmas time. You know, I love the way the kids at the high school, our kids are north, we're north, and you know, they identify the mushes, the divvies, and all the slang, the lake slang. On the teams, they take separate pictures of the lake kids, that sort of things. I mean, I love the post 440. If there's an event at post 440, I'm there, always there. Manny Canary, the Legion coach of the post 440 for 1,000 years. McGuire Plumbing, the small businesses we have all throughout Newton, we support them, we love them, and I like that. Even Schwartz Hardware, Marshall behind the counter there, I think he might break open the battery pack and sell you 2 of the 4 of the Duracells. I'm going to try that at some point. I mean, I'm so old, I remember the 4-point Sheridan when it was the Howard Johnsons. It was 1969. BC put students there, and then it's been a Crown Plaza, Radisson, it's been 1,000 things, and you know. But I do love that. All the small businesses, big, you know, Rosenthal's, Barry's Deli, the Naughty Pine, Johnny's Luncheonette, Yogurt Beach, Cabot's, Dungaren's, O'Hara's, Rice Valley. Okay, too many bars here. All right, we'll stop with that. But we love these businesses. We support them. We love it. Love the cops and firefighters. Happy to see guys here today. All the people who save us and protect us. So important. This is part of what I love about Newton. I found out today, I asked the mayor, the Chestnut Hill Mall is in Newton, evidently. Love that, too. It's always hard to tell, you know, and at West Newton, which is my first 2 houses, I had a house on Joe DiNucci Street. One night, Joe was at 119 Warwick Road. I was at 19 Warwick Road. I used to get Joe's mail, so I learned a lot there. And of course, he would talk about, what's the boxing club in the lake? There was a boxing club in the lake. I know it's still there. So yeah, we got that. I've spoken at, the folks from the synagogue here earlier, Temple Shalom was here. I know our grandsons are going to be enrolled there shortly, they keep saying. And I've spoken at most of the temples in New York. They have these great breakfasts on Sundays. And again, like our smart readers, good questions. I love going there. I'm available. Bring me back to the temple. I love doing that. The parks, Newton, the Garden City, right, the parks. Okay, Cold Spring Park, Cabot, Lyons, Richardson, Hamilton, Franklin, Gordon, Pierce. I mean, a lot of presidents there, stuff. And I'm at them all the time because our 3 adult children all played everything. Newton girls soccer, Newton boys soccer, the Y, all the Ys, the new Y, good stuff. And our library. The mayor and I talked about this. Mr. Teddy Mann, you know, I mean, it's fantastic. I'm a book person. I've written 13 books, which used to be a big deal. It's not if you live in Newton. I'm telling you, I mean, when I grew up in Groton, there was one woman had written a book on the first American nun, Lydia Longley, Mrs. McCarthy. We thought she was Ernest Hemingway because she had written a book. And now, my kids who go to school, I'm like, oh, I'm an author. They want me to come talk to the class. All of our parents' kids have written books. It's like that. And it's true. I mean, I'd ask for a show of hands, but I don't want to embarrass you all, but I'm sure half the people under the tent here have written books. It's okay. We all do it. And Newtonville Books, which is in Newton Center. Again, the Google search must be great on that. I love that. So it's like the lake with no water, kind of thing like that. Okay, skipping on down. Not too much more here. I think, the books learning brings me to the schools, and I'm a big schools guy. You're going to get it from me here on this. I just raised, Mary Lou and I raised 3 children who are adults. They all went to colleges locally because we have the great ones here, but our 39 years of public schools, kindergarten through 12. We were North Side, got to admit that, and just got to watch that. And we were a Metco family again, and it was so critical for our children and for our Metco son, Lex Mongo, he goes out with us every Christmas, and he's an operator. He's written a book. He could sell books behind me here after the thing. A 37-year-old man now, right? Our guy, all those years. But what a great program that was, and such a great blessing to be part of that. So great for our kids. And as a person who has really very few skills, like no skills, is obvious today, not a good public speaker, we can go on. I can go on to this. Can't fix anything, can't do anything. But the writing thing, I have a good memory, and I like sports and passion for it, so I was able to, uh-oh. Is that like at the Oscars when the music starts? You guys are good. That's really, that was, okay, I'm coming, All right, so yeah, that's it. I mean, whenever someone asks you, is there anything else you would have done besides be a sports writer for the Boston Globe? Yes, I would have been. I don't know if I'd been good enough, but I tried to be a high school teacher, high school coach. To me, they shape lives. They change lives. It's important. It's the important work, and I'm still in touch with the guys who coached me in high school and taught me in high school. I value the schools and the fact that we had these public schools to have our kids in, and now 5 grandchildren. Franklin, Cabot, on the way to North. Can't wait. It's so great. My daughter Sarah, who 13 years like the other 2 of schools, and she lives near Bowler's Pond by the library. And 4 of her Newton North 2002 classmates are raising families near her in the same schools where they went. And that's what Newton's all about. I hope that never changes. I love this town. Thank you very much.
A love letter to the Newton Public Schools and to Newton. Thank you, Dan. I'm going to do another love letter right here. Larry Siemens, another one of our neighbors, come on up. So I've learned how important it is to say thank you, to give gratitude, and to lift up people who do good things. You can hold this. So Larry, what this says, it's way too small for me to read. I've got the big print here. I mean it when the first line on that plaque is, "We have a hero in our midst." A person who appeals to the better angels of our nature, tackles a seemingly intractable problem, and helps people with dignity, care, and warmth. That person is our neighbor, Larry Siemens, the president of Family Aid Boston. So listen to this. The 2024 Annual Homelessness Assessment Report by Congress, by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, highlighted that, this is talking about Massachusetts, 3 of every 4 people experiencing homelessness in Massachusetts, and for the mathematicians, 76%, to be more precise, we're doing so in families with children, and Massachusetts has the highest share in the country. Furthermore, between 2023 and 2024, Massachusetts had a 74% increase in family homelessness. So this brings us to Larry Siemens. Larry Siemens is an extraordinary leader of a team at Family Aid. Founded more than 100 years ago, Family Aid creates bridges from temporary to permanent housing for thousands of residents each year by providing education and training programs, homelessness prevention and diversion services, and stable housing support. And they opened their newest navigation center in Newton just a few months ago. Thank you. Deserves applause. So Larry's work is exemplary, but how he does this work is extraordinary. Larry reached out to nonprofits across Newton to create partnerships in service to families. He listened carefully to the neighbors to make sure the design and operations of the center worked for the neighborhood. He nurtured relationships with City Hall and the Newton Public Schools so we would work together effectively on behalf of the women and children living there. He created close relationships with social workers and state housing staff, medical providers and early childhood workers, and police and fire. And by the way, those Newton Wellesley Hospital is in the house. They now have, 14 children who are less than 1 month old, including a baby who was born just in the last 48 hours, living at Family Aid. So Larry also lives his ideals in his personal life. His 2 older adopted children spent a large part of their early lives in homelessness, as did his little brother in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. We are proud of you, Larry Siemens, and the Family Aid team, and we welcome to Newton families facing homelessness as they find and keep housing and build a foundation for their children's futures. So for his unwavering dedication, his thoughtfulness and caring, and his enormous positive impact, all of which represent the ideals that today's gathering holds dear, I, Mayor Ruth Ann Fuller, on behalf of all of you, of all our residents, honor Larry Siemens with the 2025 Honorable Theodore D. Mann Community Service Award. He's a hero. We have a couple more heroes that I'm going to invite up now. Lieutenant Amanda Hendrickson, Officer Justin Lau, Officer Lauren Keefe, and our K-9 officer, Leo. And Chief McMains, why don't you come on up with them? We have some more heroes amongst us. Come on up. Come on up. Come stand up here. This one's for MPD headquarters. There we go. Okay, more heroes. The Newton Police Department has a deep commitment to community policing, partnering and collaborating with residents to improve the quality of life for Newtonians and solving problems proactively to prevent crime and social issues. MPD officers, led by Chief George McMains, actively work to build mutual respect and trust between themselves and members of our diverse community to foster a safer environment for everyone. 5 years after the murder of George Floyd, that mutual respect continues to be critically important. And 4 members of NPD epitomize this commitment to community policing, earning respect, our respect, trust, and gratitude. So, and by the way, they hate all this. This was, the chief had to force them into this. Lieutenant Amanda Hendrickson joined NPD in October 2009 as a Newton police officer. 13 years later, her deep knowledge, strong judgment, good heart, and hard work resulted in her promotion to become the first female bureau commander in the history of NPD. Let's lay off. leading the Community Services Bureau. Lieutenant Hendrickson collaborates, she engages, like Larry Siemens, she listens. She leads effectively not only outreach officers, but elder affairs, domestic violence, and school resource officers, while simultaneously serving as the NPD Public Information Officer and Civil Rights Officer. Officer Justin Lau, a lifelong resident of Newton, joined the Newton Police Department in October 2010, serving as a patrolman in the city where he grew up and where his uncle also served. He became a community outreach officer in 2018. When the opportunity arose to expand community service in a new way, Officer Lau raised his hand to serve as the first ever community resource dog handler in 2021. He trained for 18 months and lives with Canine Officer Leo, our English cream golden retriever. Officer Lau has a natural ability to connect with people from all walks of life and has trained extensively to hone that ability. His inclination is to say yes when asked to come to an event, and as a result, he and Leo are, yes, more than you, Chief, the best known officers in the department. Officer Lauren Keefe proudly served the City of Newton as a Newton Police Department dispatcher for almost 7 years. She then became a Newton police officer in 2016 and a member of the Community Outreach Services in 2021. And please know, Officer Keefe serves as the backup community resource dog handler for Leo, so she too gets to live with him sometimes. One of Officer Keefe's superpowers is her knowledge and skills with online communications. She has helped the Newton Police Department connect with thousands of residents in the community virtually. Her knowledge of Newton's culture and community online has brought fresh ideas for in-person interactions, from meeting with a Girl Scout troop to offering a special event, such as pet CPR. So, Canine Officer Leo, by the way, LEO, Law Enforcement Officer, you're wondering where Leo came from? Yeah, there you go. Has brought comfort and joy to so many people in our community and beyond. Officer Leo's responsibilities, he's just lying there, but we'll let him out. So he works hard, I promise you. Officer Leo's responsibilities include meeting with young people at preschools, elementary, middle, and high schools, he was just at the John M. Barry Boys and Girls Club. He also meets with older residents in congregate living settings. He attends village days and community events. But here's what you should also know. Officer Leo responds to crises and emotional distress calls. And he also tracks by scent people who have gone missing. Leo is arguably the best listener in all of Newton. And every morning, Leo makes his rounds at MPD headquarters, bringing a smile to everyone's face while getting his morning pats, scratches, and treats. So Lieutenant Hendrickson, Officer Lau, Officer Keefe, and Officer Leo serve as role models for all of us because they treat all members of our diverse community equitably and inclusively. In grateful recognition of the dedication and enormous positive impact on the community of Newton, of the members of the Newton Police Outreach Community Service Bureau, and their modeling of the ideals that today's gathering holds dear, I, Mayor Ruth Ann Fuller, on behalf of all of you, honor Lieutenant Amanda Hendrickson, Officer Lau, Officer Keefe, and Officer Leo with the 2025 Honorable Theodore D. Mann Community Service Award. But hang tight, because we've got plaques for the human beings. But Hattie Kerwin-Derrick cooked dog treats in the form of a key to the city for Leo. That's what he's crying about, maybe. We'll give them, I don't know, whether, can I give him one? Apparently, they're all good things. Thumbs up. And I don't know if it's going to be okay, but we thought since orange is the city colors, maybe you'll switch over to an orange leash. But you'll decide.
Thank you so much.
Okay, here are we. We're back to the Newton South Jazz Ensemble.
and having the collective voice being heard and the freedom of the individual. Jazz is America's music, built on democracy, and reflects that same conversation of how do we honor the freedom and creative expression of the individual along with the needs of the collective. And if you can notice that as we go through this piece, this is known by Charles Mingus.
Bravo. Some of us had the honor of knowing Anthony Bibbo, an extraordinary human being. And I invite up Gay Marie Brown, president of the Rotary, and our superintendent, Dr. Anna Nolan, to honor 3 exceptional students who do live the values that Tony Bibbo believed in. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Gay Marie Brown, president of the Newton Rotary Club. I'm here with many of my fellow Rotarians, many of whom were past presidents. We are a non-political, non-religious organization who are united in our service to community. These Rotary scholarships, as you heard, are Tony Bibbo. Some of you in this room knew him. He was a longtime leader of the Harmony Foundation, executive director of Family Access. He won more than 25, he was a member of more than 25 community clubs and won too many awards to count. He represented Rotary in the idea of consistently demonstrating an unwavering commitment to community. Today's theme, A Garden's Beauty Never Lies in One Type of Flower, of course, had me thinking, being the A-type that I am, how to research flowers. And there are 400,000 types of flowers. And I also learned that a dandelion is a flower, even though some people think of it as a weed. I also came here remembering this morning, so I rewrote something. Once I lived in a very poor country in a very dangerous neighborhood, and we were under gang protection. And after a really dark day, I went out the next morning, and an old retired priest simply handed me a trowel or some kind of tool and said, "You need to plant something." He used to teach the kids how to grow in places that you wouldn't think things could grow. So I picked up the thing and I started digging in the dirt. And without asking me, he just said, "The soil is where things get done, and it will make you feel better digging in it." And it did. So dear Rotary scholars and all the kids in this room, you know, things might feel really dark, but don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Plant whatever flowers you want to build in your community. And on days you don't feel hopeful, turn off your phones. Get your hands dirty and make things grow. You will feel better about the world. Most people are change makers, and immediately people, if you're a change maker, I promise you, they will think you're a dandelion. They will think you're a weed, and you can tell them you're a flower. Please join me in welcoming Superintendent Anna Nolan to represent this year's recipients of Anthony Bibbo's Rotary Scholarships.
Thank you. I hope you'll just indulge me for 1 second. I never am a person to waste a good metaphor. So we did rebrand the Newton Public Schools this year in that we rebranded the symbol to an actual seedling, channeling the Garden City, and with the tagline, Newton Public Schools, where every student can thrive. And so we really take that cultivation metaphor pretty seriously. And I just want to say first, and Mayor Fuller can tell you this, I text her time to time a picture of herself hanging on the wall at City Hall. When I walk by, I always take a nod to it because it is really hard, Mayor Fuller, to be the first bloom up, if you will, the first woman leader of this city. And that first bloom takes a lot of frost and a lot of heat and some random fertilizer that you don't want. if you get my drift. And from one cultivator to another, I just need you to know that that bloom is large for a lot of us. And it seems that our scholarship, Bibbo Scholarship, for whom it's named, is also a big flower that bloomed in this city. And so now we'll recognize two other flowers from our schools, and it's such a pleasure to be here with my colleagues from the Newton Public Schools and all the teachers from Newton to celebrate all our excellent students, but we'll highlight just a few. So the first recipient from Newton North High School is Ming Liang William Liu. He is a bright, hardworking student enrolled in rigorous curriculum of honor and AP courses. He's thoughtful and intellectually curious and deeply interested in international affairs and business, which he pursued further in pre-college programs at NYU, Georgetown, and Fordham already. Originally from China, William moved to the US in 2022 at age 15, speaking very little English, but through dedication and adaptability, two of our core values in the Newton Portrait of a Learner, he adjusted to his new academic and cultural environment, excelling in his studies and being an active and engaged member of the school community. As a former ELL student, William now volunteers in ELL classrooms to support other English learners, demonstrating his empathy and leadership. He balances academics, athletics, and extracurriculars with maturity and resilience. Polite, kind, and sincere, William is admired for his integrity and determination. His intelligence, compassion, and drive position him for future success in international relations or business. Congratulations. We have two recipients from Newton South. First, Mayuri Fiete is an exceptional student and leader known for her intellectual depth, curiosity, and strong moral character. She has excelled in one of the most rigorous academic programs at Newton South, earning top grades while developing as a thoughtful writer, critical thinker, and a self-advocate. Mayuri thrives in collaborative settings and is respected for her leadership and mentorship in group and lab work. Outside the classroom, she is a dedicated athlete, tennis, cross-country, and weight training, and active in extracurriculars including debate, public service, and club leadership. She plays a central role in STEM for Everyone, a nonprofit providing free math tutoring for METCO students, managing communications, recruitment, and program development for that organization. She also led South's Women in STEM panel and is a longtime member of Best Buddies. A talented pianist and committed language learner, Mayuri embodies balance, service, and integrity. She will attend MIT to study biophysics. Congratulations. Congratulations. And our final South recipient is Sophia Dusangjus, who is a wonderful, caring, giving, and accomplished scholar athlete who was also lucky enough to help honor at the METCO recent banquet. She's excelled at multiple sports, lacrosse, soccer, indoor track and field, was selected as captain of the varsity lacrosse and varsity soccer teams. In addition to winning multiple awards in all three sports, Sophia also represented Newton South at the state level as an MIAA sports ambassador at the MIAA Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity Summit and the annual Sportsmanship Summit. Sophia's athletic prowess is only exceeded, though, by her academic excellence, and she has consistently been on the honor roll throughout high school, is a South Legacy Scholar, a calculus project member, a facilitator of Courageous Conversations on Race and Courageous Conversations on Identity, and as a member of the Williams Elementary South High School Affinity Group Mentorship Program, and a participant in many community service and volunteer activities. She always finds time to give back to her school and the Boston community, and she will take her pursuit of excellence to Rutgers University in the fall as a recipient of the Posse Foundation Scholarship. Congratulations. Thank you, and thank you, Harmony Foundation and Mayor Fuller, for this nice breakfast.
So I'm going to switch things up, Newton South Ensemble. Listen one sec. I'm going to invite the NYLA leaders up to do the closing comments so that you can do the music and usher us out. So NYLA, then music. Is that okay?
In closing, I just want to note something that's been hinted at throughout this past hour. Like, it's good for me to just state it outright. It is not lost on me or any of us that this is our esteemed mayor's last mayor breakfast. This has been a whirlwind of a time for her in her position. The country, the world has gone in and out of crisis and tragedy, celebration and joy, and our mayor of the city of Newton has carried us through all of it. I've had the privilege of working with Mayor Fuller for the past 4 years, and we have certainly not agreed on everything, but she has been such an inspiration to work with. And I can't say enough, and I'm sure I speak for all of us, that she has been representational of all that this city has and can be. I thank you for the piece that you've played in our history, the piece you've played as a woman in this position, and the piece you played loving this city with all of your heart. That has been evident. Thank you. She's so gracious, but I know she did not want that to happen. Friends, this has been inspiring, and I pray that you go from this space transformed in a way that you love this city as much as we all love this city, and then you go forward understanding that it is so much bigger than just ourselves, that we have so much to gain from one another. And so, in blessing, I pull from our Hebrew scriptures. May the divine bless you and keep you. May that sacred divine make its face shine on you and be gracious unto you. And may it turn its face towards you and give you peace forevermore. Amen.